if you guys are not into that type of stuff, you might want to click off this video, because this one, I could not believe it. Now, if that's not evil, I don't know what is. Hey guys, it's Sharika and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. I would love to have you. So today we are doing some giant crab legs. These are Dungeness crabs, and I have my mayo and mustard dip over here. For today's drink, I'm just doing a strawberry lime water. If you guys are interested in seeing how I make my infused waters, I have a link in the description box for you guys to check out. So let's go ahead and say grace and get started. Amen. I don't have a straw, but the water's still good, period. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because I am hungry. I have on my fan right now because it's hot in here from my warmer. But we do have a story time today. Ooh, that's spicy. Now, those of you that's new to my channel, I am a investigation junkie. I love watching shows like that. So I basically tell stories on all the shows that I watch. For My Man, Fatal Attraction, Web of Lies, See No Evil, just a whole plethora of shows. So if you guys are not into that type of stuff, you might want to click off this video because this one, it gets a little crazy, y'all. This is probably like one of the craziest episodes that I've ever watched. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, so brace yourself, okay? This is not the story time that you want to be in your kitchen washing your dishes while you're watching this story. You gotta sit down for this one. You gotta sit down for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and warn you. Sit down, sis. Stop trying to be grown and sit down. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so the story is from Web of Lies. Okay, there was a guy named Chris. Him and his wife, they had 2 kids, and they both had a military background. Ooh. Happy family. They had recently moved into a nice upscale neighborhood. Let me turn my fan off. Now, I'm surprised that I didn't hear about this story before, like on the news and stuff, but it's crazy, y'all. So they had moved into this nice upscale neighborhood because he got a really good job, a well-paying job, doing security for Joyce Meyer. Now, if y'all don't know who Joyce Meyer is, she is a Christian speaker. Okay. Well, he got the job to be her top security guy. He was in charge of everything. So if she traveled, he had to travel. And she speaks all around the world. So he would be gone all the time. And of course it caused, you know, some problems in the relationship because he was never there and his wife had to basically do everything by herself. She had to be the mom and the dad to their 2 boys. The boys would put like a calendar on the refrigerator and mark down the days until their dad would be home. Sometimes he would come in early. Sometimes he would have to stay later. At one time, he was gone 265 days out of a year. Okay. Now, as her top security guy, hold on. He was also in charge of going through her emails because, you know, when you're in a spotlight like that, she would get like a lot of hate mail, crazy emails and stuff like that. So he was in charge of controlling her emails. So this one particular day, he's going through the emails. And like I said, he's used to seeing crazy stuff, threats, all kind of crazy stuff. But this one particular email address stood out to him because the email address was Destroy Chris, and that's his name. So in the email, it basically just said, you need to tell Joyce she needs to stop preaching, she need to stop lying, she need to stop doing all this and that, she need to give me my money back. The first person that I'm gonna go after is Chris and his family, right? Now he would get these crazy emails like this all the time. So he told his wife about it. One day he was just standing in the window, you know, just like staring off into space. And she was like, you know, what's wrong? So he said, I've been getting some crazy emails. So the wife said, well, you know, you get crazy emails all the time. Why is this one bothering you so much? So he said, well, this one, they're making threats to y'all, you know, to me and my family. So now they're worried. Okay. This story get crazy, y'all. So he ended up having to leave again. And this time he was going to Florida with her. And he would be gone for a week. So the wife, she called her cousin over to come stay with her while he was gone. Now, mind you, the wife also has military background, so of course she knew how to use a weapon, she knew how to protect herself. So she was trying to show her cousin, you know, if anybody was to ever try to come in here and I'm nowhere around, maybe I went to the store or something like that, I'm gonna teach you how to protect yourself and the boys from unwanted guests. So they went through all of that. She also contacted one of her old high school friends. They used to be best friends back in high school. She reached out to her and she asked her friend, she said, well, can you contact Chris and just go check on him, make sure he's eating, because he's been stressed out because of the emails that he's been receiving. So the friend was like, yeah, sure, you know, I'll go check on him. So that was that. Chris made it back home. Now, once he got home, he checked the mailbox. It's a letter in the mail saying, I know where you live, and if you don't talk to Joyce and get her to do what I want her to do, then your family is next. Because I guess, you know, with him being like the top security, people knew who he was, and this person knew where he lived. So now, you know, Chris is extra worried. So he go down to the police station and he explained to them you know, his job title, who he worked for, and let the cops know that he's been getting these threats. He asked them if they can have somebody come to the house when he's not in town, you know, because he goes out of town for, you know, weeks. So the police agreed. So Chris called his daddy and asked his daddy to come over there and help him install some surveillance cameras. So his dad came over, they installed the cameras. And after they installed the cameras, everything kind of died down a little bit. Like, he would still have to go through the normal emails and stuff like that, but he wasn't receiving anything in his mailbox. So then weeks go by, he received something else in the mailbox. Now, I don't know where the cop was, because he sure wasn't on his job. So one of the neighbors ended up contacting Chris and told him, I work for the police department. I heard about your case, and I'm actually one of your neighbors. So when you're not in town, I'll go by there and check on your wife. Gave him his cell phone number and said, if you ever need to call me, just call me and I'll go check on her or whatever. Right? So here's where it gets juicy. Chris decides early one morning he's gonna go to the gym before everybody in the house wakes up. So he goes to the gym at about 5:30. The kids are supposed to be up getting ready for school. The wife and the kids are supposed to be up getting ready for school at around 6:30. He called the house, no answer. He called several times, no answer. So the first person that he called was the neighbor. And he was one of the cops like that didn't wear uniforms and stuff like that. So he got in contact with him. And he told him, he said, I just called my wife. They're supposed to be up by this time, getting the, you know, she get the kids ready at this time. Nobody's answering the phone. Can you just swing by there and check on them, and I'll be there as soon as I can. So the cop was like, sure, I'll go over there and check on him. So of course he put on his badge, he got his gun, everything that he needed, and he called for backup just in case, because everybody knew, you know, the story that was going on with him getting these crazy emails and stuff like that. Let me take a sip, girl. So when the police got to the house, he was knocking on the door. Nobody answered. A patrol car pulls up, another officer, his backup that he called, and he told that police officer, do I got something in my hair? He told that police officer, go to the back and check out. Ooh, go to the back and check out, you know, the backyard. When when the officer went to the back door, they noticed that the screen was pulled off in the grass to the basement. He called the other officer back there. He walked around to the back, and they decided they're gonna go ahead and enter the home. They had guns drawn and everything because they didn't know what they would be walking in on, right? Now in the basement was where Chris mainly worked. That's where he had the monitors for the surveillance cameras that was surrounding his house. The cords was snatched out. The tape was gone. It was a wreck in there. So now they don't know, you know, what they're walking into. So they was trying to yell out like, you know, police department, is anyone there? Nothing. They didn't hear anything. As soon as they opened the door, they smelled a real strong smell. It was some spray paint where somebody had spray painted all over the walls, calling them a B, saying you've been punished, crazy stuff all over the walls. So they was getting ready to go up the steps. So we'll just say his last name was Miller. So they're like, Miss Miller, is anyone up there? Miss Miller, no answer. As they were getting ready to go up the steps, Chris comes running through the door. Where are they? Where are they? He freaking out. Another cop was coming at the same, they basically came at the same time. So he was trying to get Chris to calm down and told them, you know, we need to make sure that everything is okay. We don't know who's in the house. Just stay right here on the porch. They went upstairs. They went to the oldest son's room first. He was probably like 11. He laying in the bed. They pulled the cover back. He was cold to the touch. They went to the youngest son's room. Pulled the cover back, same thing. In the youngest son room, they had spray painted on the covers, like some crazy stuff. They went into the wife's room, same thing. But they could tell that the wife had put up a fight because of the way that she was laying on the bed. She had like a black eye, and you could just tell that she put up a fight. So now they go downstairs and they explain to Chris that his family didn't make it. And he flipped, right? He called his daddy. He crying to his daddy, letting him know something happened to the kids. The police was there, and he just lost it. So now it's a crime scene, detectives everywhere, cop cars, tape, everything. They gotta try to figure out what happened. So they get Chris down to the station for questioning because they still have to follow, you know, the regular procedures to try to, you know, cross him out as a suspect. So they start asking him, you know, to tell them a little bit about their relationship. So he explained they had some ups and downs. They had some little issues that they had got through. But other than that, everything was good. There was a happy family. He traveled a lot, which caused a lot of problems. This, that, and third. So the cop asked him, well, have you ever had any type of affair or anything like that on your wife? So he said, no, I've never done anything like that. So all of a sudden, the name Tara came up, which, remember, Tara is the old best friend that the wife reached out to check on her husband. So he said, oh, Tara's just an old friend. We hang out whenever I'm in town. So he said, okay, and was your wife okay with that? So he said, well, we have gotten into it a couple of times about Tara. because we would send each other text messages and pictures and stuff like that. So the detective was like, okay, give me some details, because we just found your wife and kids in the house. You know, we need you to give us some details. So he was like, well, you know, we used to send each other nude pictures and have inappropriate conversations, and she found out about it. So he said, okay, well, were you having an affair with her? So he said no. So they put the interview on hold and went and contacted Tara. So Tara told them that they had been having an affair for years. And she asked the detective, did she need an attorney? So they just thought that that was really odd, because they hadn't told her any information yet. And she had already said, you know, do I need an attorney? So they told her that she needed to try to come to the state that they were in so they can do an interview. So when they interviewed her, she basically spilled the beans and said that they had been dating for years. The wife had found out about it. He had been promising, Chris had been promising Tara that he was going to leave his wife. And Tara was getting tired of waiting for him. When he would come in town, he had them promised her everything. Basically, Tara wanted Miss Miller's life, basically. Okay. They were wearing these black bands that they bought each other, just like when he come in town, it's like they married, like they wearing these little wedding bands that they bought. When they were doing the interview, she had the band on. Come to find out, she never left Florida. So she was X'd out. So they back at square one. Now, this is the part of like investigation and stuff that I like. Like, I like how deep they can dig and put things together and put pieces together. That's the part that I like. And they had called in a guy. He went through every single email that was received since Chris was the head guy, pulling up the IP addresses and different things like that. When he got to the email that was coming from Destroy Chris, remember that's the email that he was getting all of the hate mail from. When the guy was doing everything that he needed to do, come to find out, it was Chris's IP address, right? So the detective's like, I know you lying. They didn't tell him that he was like the prime suspect. So they found some paperwork with like Chris's handwriting. Took it to a specialist. They compared the two handwritings from the handwriting that was on the wall and compared it to like some paperwork they found with Chris's handwriting. It was a match. The detective, she decides to go a little deeper. They have a way of finding out the type of paint that was used, the exact color that was used, and not only that, the store that the paint was bought from. So where he was from, I guess, you know, like when you go to the grocery store and stuff, you see the same people, so sometimes you get to know the cashiers and stuff like that. So they already knew him in the grocery stores and stuff because of the job that he had. So it's a wasp outside my window, and if that thing, oh my God. So she talked to the detective talked to the manager and said, Did Chris Miller come in here to buy something recently? So the lady said, yeah. He came in here, he bought some paint. So the detective was like, really? What kind of paint? She said it was a candy apple red paint. Now I'm looking like, you gotta be kidding me. They arrested his behind. So when they arrested him, they had like the actual footage. The neighbors surrounding the car, calling him a murderer. All kind of, it was crazy. Whenever they pulled his cell phone records, they saw the text messages where he was texting back and forth to Tara. She's saying like, you need to go ahead and get a divorce. You keep promising me that you're gonna get a divorce and you haven't gotten a divorce yet. I'm tired of waiting. And he's saying, baby, I promise you I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So he wanted Tara. And I guess he wanted to get rid of the wife, because if Joyce, the Christian speaker, the preacher, if she would have heard about this affair that he had, he would have lost his job. So he wanted to get rid of her. Now the crazy thing to me in all of this is, so he basically strangled them, right? Now that's not something that happens in seconds. Like, it takes time. The lady said that something like that takes 5 to 7 minutes. So you sat there, you did that to your kids and your wife. You had to do it 3 different times, and it took 5 to 7 minutes. And you know, and you willing to do that for, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Now, if that's not evil, I don't know what is. Y'all gotta look it up, because I watched it on TV last night. It was the episode from last night on the ID channel. But you know, with her being such, you know, she's a famous speaker, a big time Christian speaker. So I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to read about the story. Crazy. Okay guys, so I hope you're done eating. If you're eating with me, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click the next 2 videos at the bottom of the screen, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye y'all.